Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera semua. I would like to present my review on John Rawls' book. The title is A Theory of Justice and its Relevance in Analyzing Injustice on Ethnic Phenomena. John Rawls is an American political and ethical philosopher that was born in 1921 in Maryland, Baltimore. Some of his work that are the theory of justice, political liberalism, the law of people, and justice as fairness. And theory of justice become the focus of my presentation today. Generally, a theory of justice discusses about justice theory that are usually utilitarianism in nature that are developing in the West. Rawls tried to develop several ideas in social contract traditions and offers alternative thinking in the form of anti-utilitarian philosophy. Rawls continued social contract traditions that were pioneered by John Locke, Hobbes, and Rousseau. In his era, the Theory of Justice book became the main treatise that talked about political philosophy and also became the main reference regarding to social philosophy. This book was divided into three sections. The first section titled Theory, which is elaborate on justice theories. The second section titled Institution, explain the application of those justice theories within institutions. And the last section titled Ends. In this section, Rawls finally explained general theories that aim to clarify the relationship between justice as fairness with social justice values. I will divide my explanation into three sections. Firstly is the concept of justice. Secondly is the relevance of justice theory in analyzing injustice on ethnic phenomena. And thirdly is about critics, the weakness and the strength of Rawls' work. Rawls proposed four concepts of justice. There are the basic structure of society, the principle of justice, justice as fairness, and the last is the way to achieving justice. The first one, I will explain about the basic structure of society. In Justice of Fairness, he identified basic structure of society as the main subject of justice. The base structure of society itself consists the entire social institution. It's like politics, law, and economics. In other words, the basic structure is a very big institution that manages the social cooperation system. Every basic structure has an individual function, which is to distribute the social burden as benefit to every individual. Everyone involved in the social cooperation must be in state of freedom, rational, and equal. During reading the Rawls writing, I tried to make an analogy for the basic structure concept and its function towards relating it with the available social institution. As an example, if the basic structure of a society was talked about by Rawls is a political institution, then he would distribute social burden and benefit as powers to individuals, as well as if what Rawls mean what a law institution, then he will distribute the social burden and benefit as protection, right, and freedom for individuals. In this context, individuals are born with a different social condition. Even though different, the justice principle must be manifested to each. Different individual will always get their principle right. The second one is the principle of justice. This principle contains two main points. The first is principle of fair equality and opportunity, and the second is the difference principle. In my understanding, a principle of fair equality and opportunity is a principle that desires every individual to obtain equal opportunities. Thus, the greatest equal liberty is then formed. Meanwhile, the difference principle desires that if there is a social and economic difference within a society, then that difference will be regulated in such a way that will give the greatest advantage towards members of societies that are less fortunate. Therefore, it realizes social justice. The third one is justice as fairness. Linked to the principle of justice, Rawls continued his works by formulating theories that he named justice as fairness. Rawls stated that justice is the first virtue of social institution. This means the good society is constructed based on the principle of justice. A social condition can only be achieved if society is given individual freedom that is coupled with a fairness system. So the fairness itself is assumed as a competition regulation based on power classification. If fairness were to be given to the maximum, then it can be assumed that poverty will be considered as prosperity in a proper manner. The fourth one is the way to achieving justice. Next, on his book, Rawls explained the way of achieving justice through the original position theory. Rawls revealed that the original position is a hypothetical situation where personal things are behind a veil of ignorance. The veil of ignorance concept is so interesting because, in short, Rawls would like to convey that if someone wants to act fair, then that person must wear the veil of ignorance. Therefore, a person wearing this veil will go through a process of concealment of self, where one has to forget about his economic, social, and physical status until achieving a social justice position. And now I want to explain about the relevance of justice theory in analyzing injustice on ethnic phenomena. In justice, ethnic issues become the problems faced by many countries around the world. For example, we can see some ethnic conflicts such as ethnic Uyghur-China conflict or the conflict of ethnic Kurdish fighting for their autonomy in Iraq and Turkey. The conflict with injustice background also happened in Ethiopia, which was known as Tigray People Liberation Front or TPLF, toward the centralized government of Ethiopia. If some scholars are interested to analyze injustice phenomena, the John Rawls justice theory can be used. Researchers can use 4 basic questions that were mentioned by Rawls to mapping out the research questions that are faced with and look for answers to authors' problems scientifically using Rawls theory. The 4 questions are: what are the keys? What are the key areas of justice? What problems appear in justice? What are the justice principles that must be fulfilled? And how to achieve justice? When researchers are faced with ethnic problems about injustice, the first and second question about what are key areas of justice and what problems appear in justice can help researchers to identify in which institution injustice appears, what are the problem, and what effect it has on individuals. As Rawls explained, the key areas of justice can be used by researchers to look at these justice problems comprehensively that appear in every key area of justice that comprises the basic structure of societies. the entire institution, such as social, politics, law, and economics. Every basic structure has its own function specified, which is to distribute burden and social benefit for individuals. The basic question number 3, that is about what are the justice principles that must be fulfilled. As I explained before, Rawls' over 2 principles, they are principle of fair equality and the difference principle. Therefore, researchers can use the 2 principles in analyzing how far the government has given the greatest equal liberty as stated by Rawls. Principle of fair equality of opportunity require the government to provide equal opportunities to the individual rights are fulfilled. Next, the fourth best question is how to achieve justice. It can be an analysis tool for researchers to find a solution about what should the government do in order to achieve and minimize potential ethnic conflict. Rawls over 2 ways that are known as concept of the original position and the veil of ignorance. Regarding these 2 concepts, social justice can be achieved if the government is able to reach its original position by wearing a veil of ignorance. In order to do this, everyone must ensure that all personal things are behind the veil of ignorance, be it the government or every ethnic must forget his economic, social, and physical status. Then assume when the veil of ignorance is successfully applied, everyone will be committed to the principle of social and political justice. Thus, there are no views regarding the ethnic majority nor the ethnic minority. All ethnicities are considered on equal footing in the eyes of the country. Next, the strength, the weakness, and critiques of Rawls' works. I would like to say that theory of justice is like a big the other big masterpieces. This book has some strength and weakness. The strength of Rawls' works lay on its ability to integrate morality aspect with justice theory. And through his writing, Rawls was able to bring the readers to the state of nature period, the place where the classic philosophers like Locke and Rousseau construct the social contract in society. In that classical frame of thinking, it was depicted that the human state of nature is evil, anarchy, and only the strong survive. Interestingly, Rawls found that the state of nature condition is not feasible to explain justice, so he tried to modify it and establish a new justice concept in the form of justice as fairness, original position, and the veil of ignorance. Another strength is that a theory of justice by Rawls can be a guideline for governments in creating social policies around the world, implicating injustice, including reducing ethnic conflicts that may arise in the country. Regardless its strength, the concept of veil of ignorance and original position are things that are hard to achieve. It is also the weakness from Rawls' book. Therefore, it's considered as utopia by Robert Nozick. In line with Nozick's view, Amartya K. Sen state that Rawls want plenary justice. Meanwhile, we need to do a more grassroots approach in order to realize justice. However, a feminist like Susan Moller-Okin regarded the theory of justice cannot explain justice in the context of traditional family and gender. Rawls failed to explain injustice in patriarchal social relation and the gender division of labor, especially in the household. This book is considered hard to understand because it was writing in complicated philosophical language. Therefore, it needs a higher logical thinking when reading it. In conclusion, I think that it's important to take notes that Rawls' philosophical theories are still relevant to be applied in analyzing problems that are related to injustice in contemporary world. The need to apply absolute justice is the main strength from Rawls' justice philosophy. For me, theory of justice has its strength and weakness. Nevertheless, it should be emphasized that philosophy is a valuable base knowledge to resolve problems within society. A researcher needs a higher capability of analysis in order to determine which theory is suitable to analyze certain problems. That's all. Thank you for watching my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.